Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Park Hopper Society, a place where we discuss all things travel and theme parks. We'll talk a little bit of life and a whole lot of Disney. My name is Gary, and I'm joined by my fellow hoppers, Britt
Hello.
and Aaron.
Hello.
In today's episode, we'll talk about some exciting Disney news and how our plans have changed over the years when it comes to planning trips to Disney, and we'll play a fun game. So without further ado, let's get hopping. Not so much breaking news at this point, but on May 7th, Disney announced they'll be building a new theme park in none other than Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, yeah. So according to the press release, Disney's 7th theme park will be located on, I'm assuming this is called Yas?
Yas.
Yas Island?
Yas, Princess.
Y-A-S
Queen.
Island, yeah. So the new resort will be will be fully developed and built by Miral?
Wait,
M-I-R-A-L?
what does that mean?
So that's a company.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, for some reason when you said that, I thought you were giving me a time frame.
Oh,
And this
no.
was like something that coordinated with
no.
like some sort of cultural thing over
Absolutely.
there. I was like,
No,
when
no.
is Morale?
Yeah, it's right after Cabal. And Disney and its legendary Imagineers will lead the creative design part of it and the operational oversight to provide a world-class experience. This is all according to their press release. Our friend Josh Diamaro. That sounds fancy.
Works for me.
Yeah, he says this groundbreaking resort destination represents a new frontier in theme park development. Our resort in Abu Dhabi will be the most advanced and interactive destination in our portfolio. The location of our park is incredibly unique, anchored by a beautiful waterfront, which will allow us to tell our stories in completely new ways. This project will reach guests in a whole new part of the world, welcoming more families to experience Disney than ever before. Ultimately, it will be a celebration of what's possible when creativity and progress come together. So first things first, what do you think?
I'll say this. I think that there is a lot of money that they can pour into this.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
So,
I think it will 100% be exactly what they said.
yeah.
Now, will I ever go there?
Yes.
No.
Aaron.
Not
I'll
because
go.
I don't want to. It's just that's expensive and a long
we will
trip.
be filming, or not filming, maybe filming at that point, episode 1000 of this podcast
in Abu
Yeah.
Dhabi.
in Abu Dhabi.
right
But
there
at the rate
in
we're going,
Yeah, yes.
we'll be very old.
Yeah, it's one a month. So in 1,000 months, it'll be about the time that Disney might be starting construction. on
Yep,
it. So
yep,
I don't know that I haven't seen a timeline. I'm not saying that there isn't
Yeah.
one. I just haven't seen it.
I agree. I haven't seen any. This is honestly all I've seen about it.
Yeah.
This and the discussion around it.
Have
But
you
yeah.
have you looked at anything about like this? I'm gonna call it Yas. Yas
Yeah,
Island. Can we
sure.
agree to call
Yeah.
it Yas
Yeah, that
Island?
works for me.
Okay. Have you
If that's not what it's called, listeners,
Yeah.
shout really loudly so we can hear you.
Yeah.
please
all
please
at the same
do.
time.
Tell
On
us.
the count of 3.
Yeah.
1, 2. We'll get to 3 later.
Yeah, if anyone can spell this phonetically, put it in the comments below. But from this point on, we're going to be calling it Yas Island. If it hurts your feelings, I don't know. I'm sorry, but so this is like a man-made island out there in what is this? The United Arab Emirates.
Yeah.
Yes.
The UAE.
Yes. It says it's 30 minutes from Abu Dhabi, 10 minutes from the airport, which is apparently huge. It's a massive airport over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So I looked at just looking at prices to see like, okay, whatever. And it was in September. Now I know nothing about this area.
Sure.
September may be like the worst time in the world to go.
Sure.
But to stay a week over there, and you got access to 2 theme parks, was $1,500 for 2 people,
Okay.
which is reasonable.
Yeah. It's cheaper
Dare
than
I say
California.
cheap?
Yeah. I mean, that's
Honestly,
cheaper than Orlando, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, because there are already theme parks
So
there.
yes, so this same group has developed Ferrari World,
Okay.
Yazwater World, Warner Brothers, and Abu Dhabi, and SeaWorld Abu Dhabi, and they're all on this same island. So
Okay.
limited research again. So do
Sure.
this yourself. But kind of what I was seeing was that the admission to 2 theme parks was one of those 4.
Okay.
So I'm assuming Disney is going to be the 5th. Now
Right.
I seriously doubt that you're going to be able to go and get a ticket package where you can go to SeaWorld Abu Dhabi and Disney, Abu Dhabi, and you choose.
I mean,
It's
maybe,
possible.
though. So what's weird about this one is that this park is wholly owned and operated not by Disney.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what the percentage is, but
But so from what I was reading, the percentage is only like Disney takes like a revenue cut basically,
okay.
but I don't think Disney has any, like it's straight up just a licensing deal basically.
Well, that's I wrote this down here in our little notes. I think that is like Tokyo. So Tokyo is
Yeah.
that same way where it's the Oriental Land Company that owns
Okay.
the majority. Now, some of the others I looked at, like Shanghai and that kind of stuff, Disney owns almost half, or they may not
Right.
necessarily be the majority owner,
But they own a big chunk.
but they own a big chunk. Yeah. So this could be different.
Yeah. From my understanding, this one is like wholly 100%, like Disney is just providing the Disney content.
Okay.
But I think they're doing like all the design and everything. Like,
Sure.
so I think Tokyo would be the closest parallel to it, I guess.
Have you seen any videos from like SeaWorld Abu Dhabi or Warner Brothers Abu Dhabi?
No, I've actually seen a little bit of the Ferrari park.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like SeaWorld, I don't know about the Ferrari, but SeaWorld and I think most of Warner Brothers is inside.
Wow. Okay.
It's
yeah.
still
really hot.
107 degrees, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so they've just announced, I saw that this Disney Abu Dhabi is going to be indoors.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So here's what I thought about. And as soon as I said it, have you guys seen the video of, I think it's I don't know if it's the last video that Walt Disney was ever in, but if it's not, it's like next to last. And it's where he's talking about it's the Florida Project.
yes.
Okay, so
Where he's got like the whole picture up on the wall.
yes, he's
and
got this
pointing at it with it.
massive
Yeah.
map behind him,
Yeah.
and they're explaining to you how this city's going to work, and
Yep.
he's giving you a layout of okay. So in it, he talks about Epcot, right? And how it's going to be this working city. And he says, in the center, I think there's this massive hotel. So if you're riding the
Right.
People Mover, you see okay.
Yep.
And then around it was going to be all this shopping, and it was going to mimic different streets around the world. But the whole 50-acre complex was going to be inside, and so it would be completely
Okay.
temperature controlled and all this kind of stuff. And like as soon as they said this park's going to be an indoor park, I went like,
Interesting.
70-something years later,
Yeah.
here we are,
Finally getting ready to try
and
it.
we're finally
Yeah.
getting like this whole indoor where they would control everything
Yeah.
in terms of weather and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean,
you know,
but yeah.
That's crazy.
isn't it? Yeah,
Is there just gonna be a dome? How is this gonna work?
I don't know. It's worth checking out the SeaWorld park
Uh-huh.
because the way that they've done it is pretty incredible. Honestly, it's a big, huge, massive building, and as you said at the beginning, there's so much money
Oh yeah.
over there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It will quickly, I think, become
A lot of
the premier Disney park.
Yeah.
a lot of very ethical workforce as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
Yeah.
compared to here, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it will quickly become.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say it's gonna be like their flagship park or that
No.
you're ever gonna see more visitors than Disney World or any of that kind of
Right.
stuff. But it will be the go-to.
It will be, and it will be it will open up they talk about it being a whole new frontier, and I mean, obviously there are other theme parks there. This will be the first Disney park in the Middle East.
Yeah,
But it'll also be the first Disney park in a Muslim country.
It
you
will.
know, which that's a huge chunk of the world population.
Man, I
It
think I
is.
also saw a Dragon Ball Z park is opening in Saudi Arabia as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if
like
it's
a
by the same
500,000
people.
meter park. No, I think it said it's like I think it is a different group.
Okay,
But it's so random.
Well, that's the thing is so a lot of these countries are, they're kind of seeing the writing on the wall that oil is not going to last for forever. Not, in terms of being a commodity as people start driving more and more electric cars, we start
Right.
shifting to, other, solar power and wind power if nuclear ever comes back, things like that. And so they're starting, to their credit, they're starting to realize we have to diversify out of just being oil.
Right.
And if you can throw a whole lot of money at being a tourist destination, you can really do something.
And they have thrown a lot
of money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
into being a tourist
They have
destination.
obscene amounts of money.
Yeah.
Yes. That
So,
and
yeah.
that's same. I was talking. I think it was Leslie and I. We're talking, and she's like, "I don't know if I would want to go. Just on the location." And I was like, "I mean, American who's never
Right.
left the country speaking here. You know what I mean? And so, especially
And a male American at that.
sure, yeah,
Right.
growing up in 9/11 and that kind of stuff, like, you we're almost taught the worst parts of
Sure.
Mhm.
the Muslim countries,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
everyone's a terror. And to be clear, I don't believe that at
No.
all. I mean, it's taken a lot of unworking, but
Definitely not probably at an Abu Dhabi Disney park. for
yeah,
that
exactly.
matter.
I was
Right.
like, this is probably, honestly, a safer city than
Yeah.
most
Like,
of the
I don't
ones
want to
in
go to the
America.
bridge downtown here in Knoxville.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I was going to say, where would you rather go? Would you rather go to the Disney park in Abu Dhabi or the Disney park in South Chicago? Like,
exactly, exactly.
Let's
yeah.
be honest here, but I agree with you that it is definitely, being an American that was growing up during all of that time.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of ingrained into you that the Middle East is a dangerous place.
Yes.
It's
Don't
a
go,
unpredictable place. Yeah.
You never know what's gonna-
especially for you as an American.
Yes.
And I mean, obviously, sure, certain parts probably are, but again, I mean, certain parts of the U.S. are kind of scary and dangerous too.
Let's
you
face
know?
it, like
Yep.
certain parts of Orlando.
Right.
If you
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
But also,
yeah.
to your point about it being a Disney park, I mean, I'm never scared to be at Disney World. If
No.
anything, I
Yeah.
honestly feel safer at Disney World than I do walking around downtown here.
Yeah.
You know?
yes,
100%.
Most
So,
places.
yeah.
Really, that I go to.
Well, and you're isolated basically from your bus ride to Disney most of the time. So
Yeah.
like
You are.
That Disney
you're in
bubble.
even when you're not inside there, you're in a bubble, and
Yep.
Abu
I was
Dhabi
gonna
is
say,
going to be the same way.
you get inside the bubble, and I can promise you, the last thing that Disney wants is for anyone to get hurt on their
Right.
property or
Well, and-
anything to happen.
And
on their
honestly, for
property.
Abu Dhabi as well.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
mean, they're clearly building this all out. Like, it's going to be great. It's going to be a safe place to be. Obviously, I do understand that there are a lot of people out there that have various ethical concerns and concerns about, minority groups and women and all that.
Yes.
And I think those are fair questions to ask and fair concerns to have.
And it would be interesting to see how they handle that.
I agree.
This is the cynical part of me, but how they spin that.
I agree.
It 100% will
Because
because there
that's-
will be a loud outcry of
There already has been.
There
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
been, and Disney has this wonderful way of making decisions, which I believe are wholly based on their ability to make money,
Yep.
yeah.
but making you think
Yep.
it's for your good.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
that's, if there's one thing I think that they're brilliant at, that is it.
I agree with that.
So I'll be interested to see how do they spin it. How do they say, "Oh no, we're trying to change the narrative here. We're trying
Yep.
to, whatever."
Yep.
So that will be interesting.
It will be.
to see in how that area embraces
Yeah.
Disney coming in.
And to be fair, again, to the full understanding of it, there are definitely places in the Middle East, obviously, where, the women wear the full face veils and all that.
Right.
I don't really know what it's like in Abu Dhabi.
I don't either.
I know that there are some, especially bigger urban cities like that's really not the case.
Sure.
They are much more progressive, maybe not as progressive as like New York or LA.
Right.
But they are much more progressive than I think our typical view of the Middle East is.
Yeah.
So it could be that as we get into this, like perhaps some of these issues are overblown.
Sure.
Perhaps some of them are underblown,
Mhm.
and not to say that one necessarily even offsets the other. Just because one thing isn't a problem doesn't mean that nothing is a problem. And I guess on the same token, just because one thing is a problem doesn't mean everything is a problem. I don't
Right.
know. But I agree with you. And I do think that'll be one thing that I'm kind of curious to see how this goes, especially timeline. Disney certainly has a long history of making announcements and promises and
yeah.
publishing timelines and showing you all sorts of concept art and then never talking about it again.
Yeah, here's the
Yep.
difference, though. I think what happens so often with that is I will use the term I see all the time: bean counters.
Yep.
You know, you got this huge idea. We're gonna build it on this grand scale, and we're gonna do all this stuff. And then this project goes a little bit over, and this project gets delayed, and so it's over, and this one's over, and all of a sudden now we got to start cutting stuff until
Right.
we've whittled it down to where it's 25% of
Yep.
what it was. I remember when they first announced the Fantasyland
Sure.
updates
Yep.
back in 2012, I think it was. And we were gonna have this, the huge like Snow White, the coast. I mean, they ended up building the coaster, but it's way scaled down from what they
Right.
were originally intended. There was a whole like Pixie Hollow thing,
Right.
which never has seen the light of day.
Yep.
Not like I'm not heartbroken that I can't meet Tinkerbell.
Right,
But you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like that's just it's a case where this thing was huge
Yep.
and now it's down. You think about Star Wars where they were going to have the what are the things that you would be able to ride like through the park? They would kind of wander through. It was some type of what's the big like hairy elephant looking things?
Oh, like a bantha.
Yes.
Yeah.
You remember that? So they
Oh,
were gonna
yeah,
they were
on
gonna have a
Tatooine.
bantha attraction,
Yeah.
and that you would be able to ride these things through Galaxy's Edge. Never came to fruition.
Right.
Yeah, that's
so
not too surprising.
But I
Yeah.
do think the difference here is you've got
It's
plenty
somebody
of
else's
money.
money. Exactly. Yeah.
so do it.
Yeah.
And I think because of this, you have an area where you can create these attractions and see how they do.
Sure.
And we know Disney is famous for, we're going to try this in Paris, and if it works, we're going to bring it over to the States. So we're
Yep.
going to try it in this park and
Yep.
see if it works.
Tron.
Yeah.
The Tron coaster is a good example of that.
And
Yes.
yes, there is no budget here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the sky's the limit,
Yeah.
if it's truly a blank check, and obviously we don't know that.
No, we
You
don't.
know.
But when you look at Tokyo and all the money that's been put into that park, I'm hard pressed to think that this one won't be comparable,
Mhm.
Agree.
at least.
Agree.
Especially like you said, where you've got somebody else's money to play with, somebody who, I mean, this is a huge coup for them to get this. I mean, it's
Huge.
you can put whatever theme park you want to anywhere. It doesn't compare to having a Disney
No.
park. That is still, and Universal has done a great job of becoming a solid competitor.
They have.
And we'll see as this summer goes, they might be more than just a solid competitor.
Yeah, and they're doing the whole thing in, is it the UK that they're building a park? I think it is.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think
And
that's
so
right.
this could be Disney's answer to
It could be.
that.
It could be. Kind of an arms race of parks. Yeah,
Could be.
which I'm okay with. That means more parks.
Me too.
Yeah. And maybe more reasonable prices.
No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. There is no arms race when it comes to ticket pricing. That only will go up.
I will say, side note, once that scathing article was written,
Yep.
was it in the Journal, Wall Street Journal,
Yeah, I think
about
that's right.
Disney ticket prices and
Yep.
everything,
And how
this-
they've
this
wildly
summer,
outpaced everything.
They have. I mean, they're coming out with all kinds of stuff.
They are.
And okay, a lot of it's probably Epic, and
Oh, yeah.
they're begging people to come, but still,
But on the same token, did you see their quarterly results that came out like last week? They beat
No.
analyst expectations like pretty handily
really,
for their parks.
I do know as a shareholder that recently it has shot up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's why.
There you
Yeah,
go.
and especially after they had that announcement.
Yep.
About the new park and everything. So I'm sure things
Yep.
combined. Yeah.
Yep. And
it's kind of
Josh
well,
Tomorrow is on record thanking Universal for bringing so many people to Orlando.
Yeah.
That's a backhanded.
It is.
Compliment.
It's a. But here's the thing. It's kind of a weird symbiotic relationship because let's be honest, Universal Orlando would not exist
Oh yeah.
if
without-
Disney
yeah.
World wasn't already there.
Yeah.
Agreed.
There's no doubt you wouldn't like Epic Universe, all of that. I'm sorry. Let's just be honest. None of that would have happened
None of it happens.
if Disney World wasn't already there.
Yeah.
So I do think that there is some fair like feedback here too. I definitely think I felt like this last year. I felt like last summer crowds were really down
Mm-hmm.
because there were a lot of people that were waiting until this year when they could come and they could do all the Universal parks and the Disney
Sure.
parks. So in a lot of ways, I kind of expect this summer to be busier than a lot of people think
Right.
because there will be a lot of people who have held off
Yeah.
and will be
They have.
there, will come this summer. We'll see.
Well, and maybe with some of the ticket specials and kind of that stuff they're doing,
Sure.
if you're on the fence about, hey,
Yeah.
I'm coming down to do Epic, or I'm coming down to do Universal.
Yep.
Do you want to go to Disney? And it's like, I don't know. It's too expensive, whatever. Well, maybe, you know, with these deals, that draws people who are already planning on being in Orlando.
Right.
You come by and stay for.
Now that is the
Stop by for
only
a day.
that's the only thing though about all the deals and stuff is that the vast majority of them are tied to a stay at Disney, right?
Yeah, that's true.
They're
Yeah.
not tied to just getting a ticket. So
Which have either of you, well, I have, not as an adult. So
Sure.
let me, as an adult, since I've been going to Disney, I've never stayed off property. And, let me caveat this. A couple years ago, we went to that conference, but that wasn't, we weren't
Okay,
really
yeah,
there for Disney.
and
That's
again,
fair.
We were
Yeah.
just
we did
close
stay
to
on
Disney.
property.
Well, after we
For
left the
the
conference.
second half of
yeah,
it. Yeah.
exactly. But I've never gone down to Orlando for the sake of
Right.
going to Disney
And not stayed
and
at
not
Disney.
stayed
I haven't either.
on property.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what my experience would be like if I were staying off property and I'm trying to drive to Disney to do that a few days, and then I'm trying to do Universal a couple of days, and maybe I'm going to do SeaWorld for matter of fact, I've never stayed on Disney property and gone to another theme park, a
Yeah.
non-Disney theme park.
No.
I've left property a couple times, and it's mostly because somebody was sick and I had to go to the pharmacy to get something.
Yes.
Yeah, because I didn't listen to an episode of Park Hopper Society
Yeah.
a couple ones
yeah.
ago, which you can reference. I think it's episode 2 maybe, where we talk about what to do when you get sick.
Unless we release them in a different order. Go back to a previous episode.
Yeah,
It's not this one.
and it's titled something about
Yeah.
what to do when you get. I'm sure it's titled something what to do when
Probably.
you get sick.
It,
but
it's not this one and it's not the first one.
no, definitely not.
It could be one of the other ones.
But so that's that's the only time I've left. To say all that. So, I don't know. Maybe if someone's listening and you've got experience staying off property and visiting multiple theme parks, tell us about it. Do you like it? Do you hate it? I, as the guy that has to drive my family everywhere,
Sure.
and is charged of getting us from point A to point B, for the most part, love being able to stay on property and not ever have to worry about where I'm going.
Yeah. So I was going to say, on that token, do you feel like you would be more or less likely to go off property if you have your car, or if you if you're at Disney and you
Right.
drove, would you be more likely to go over to Universal, or would you be more likely to just get an Uber and go over there? Or
Probably Uber, honestly.
yeah, same.
I hate thinking about it. I don't, and that's, I don't know. Just, there's not a lot that makes me anxious in life, right? But I'll tell you one thing that does is parking garages and parking lots and the whole concept of, I don't know. I'm driving and I got to find a spot, and they're probably going to direct me, so I don't even really have to look, honestly, but then I got to get out and go find the tram, and it's just nice to be dropped off.
It is.
At the gate.
It is. Well, and that's the because obviously our local theme park here in East Tennessee is Dollywood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've driven up there plenty of times and parked plenty of times a long way away and chosen to walk it, because even from the farthest parking spots, it's like a 20-minute walk.
Yeah.
And it's not that bad.
Who wants to ride the tram?
Right.
I mean, well, let me back that up. There's a new policy change, and I feel like we whatever, we might be digressing for a minute, but
that's what we do.
Your stroller, if you take a stroller with you and you folded it up,
okay,
there's no place to put the stroller, like at the front of the tram anymore. It's like they don't want the liability of carting your stroller around. So you're sitting in the tram on the the road, whatever the road,
which are already fairly narrow,
with a freaking stroller between your legs.
Nah,
talk about a liability.
Talk about a liability. Yeah,
I definitely feel like we're still talking about Dollywood, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they have the last couple of years, and I haven't been in a few years, but I feel like they're pushing as much as they can to see what they can get away with at this point.
I would agree. I will say this too. Having grown up here and been to Dollywood, I don't even know how many times from a very early age, there is a noticeable difference in Dollywood today.
There is.
It is a much better park.
It is.
Like
100%.
in the last, I'm going to say 10 years, and that's probably a little more than it really is, but probably about 10 years ago was when the shift started to change.
I would say within the past 5.
I would too, really.
I've noticed. I agree with you on the
Yeah.
10, but that 5, they've been doing more of the festivals and that kind of
They
stuff.
have, and just the whole park itself. Just
Yeah.
the I've noticed. It seems like they're doing it's more attention to detail.
It is.
It's starting to become a little more fully integrated.
You know what happened, right?
Yeah, they hired a bunch of Disney people,
They
didn't they?
did.
Yeah,
That's exactly what
Yeah.
happened.
and it does show. Like, to their credit, it does show, because in my opinion, Dollywood has shifted from being a park that you would go to and feel like, oh yeah, this is a local
Yes.
East Tennessee park
Mhm.
for the people that live around here, to being a truly like regional type.
I would
Park.
almost say national at this.
It's
Yeah.
it's definitely getting there.
People come. I mean, that's one of the main reasons people come down here, and it was
Yeah, it
already
is.
like a big tourist attraction just
Yeah.
for the environment.
They're getting the resorts.
Exactly.
They're building the resorts. You know,
Yep. They're expanding the
Um,
park.
they're expanding, and the expansions that they've done are really well themed.
They are.
Honestly, it's
They are.
the best theming.
However, one bone to pick there. Wildwood Grove needs to have some trees, guys.
Yeah, there's only one,
Yeah.
There's only one, and it's not even real.
and it's like Tree of Life Junior,
it like junior.
Junior.
It is very junior.
The other bone that I would have to pick is that in Tennessee, the area is very hilly and it's very
Yes.
mountainous.
Yep.
And the Wildwood Grove, you pretty much walk straight up the side of the hill,
Yep.
and the only way out of Wildwood Grove is to walk straight back down said hill.
Yep.
And like, it's geography, right?
It is.
Like,
But they need to somehow loop it around. There is literally, it is a single entry exit. Like, it's a dead end part
it's
of
a
the park.
dead end,
And
Yeah.
it goes a long way back.
You go to the
there.
cul-de-sac.
Yeah. But you are walking all the way back to the back and then turning around and walking all the way back out. And the whole rest of the park is a giant circle. So they've
It
done a
is.
good job with the rest of it. But,
Yep.
well, more or less.
Eh.
Um, But-
When you get used to the Disney like hub and spoke, or
Yes.
there's the weenie that pulls you to, like,
yep.
Dollywood does not have that.
No, and again, like you said, a lot of it is simply because of the terrain.
It is.
It was never going to be able to have that.
Never.
And the fact that the park itself has an incredibly long history. It was originally much, much smaller.
Yes.
It's just kind of been added onto as they
That's
went.
exactly what's happened. They
Yeah.
continue to expand.
Yeah, it was never really intended to be what it is today. But yeah, to your point, Aaron, that yes, I do agree that in addition to Dollywood feeling like they have upgraded a whole lot, I do feel like that they have lost some of their.
Yeah.
I don't feel as valued as I once did.
Yeah.
They don't care about you.
They don't,
No,
and
no,
that,
it went from being like the homie thing.
it's losing that.
Yeah.
It feels, and again, they've got everybody that works there loves it. I think they do a good job of taking care of the employees and everything, but it does not feel nearly as friendly as it once did.
Right.
I felt that way when they went with the new annual passes for their season passes, whatever.
Yeah.
Because they used to just have silver and gold.
Now there's the diamond.
Now there's the diamond,
And you
to
better be
clear,
the one that is there with the pass to get your free
yeah,
parking.
you gotta do
and
that.
stuff.
But but to be clear, with the diamond pass, it's not like they had the silver pass, the gold pass, and now this new even better than that diamond pass. The diamond pass is pretty much what the gold pass used to be. The gold pass is pretty much what the silver pass used to be, and the silver pass is like, well,
Silver Pass
Quit
is
being so
also
cheap.
like, hey, did you want to see the lights at
Yeah.
Christmas time? You can't.
no, you should have
those-
upgraded.
Yeah, those are blacked out.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It literally
Now,
just gets you into like the regular
In
park.
fairness, how much is a season pass at Dollywood?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. For the silver pass, if you go like 2 days, you've bought a silver pass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
So,
that is
I
where it
do agree
definitely
with
wins
that.
out.
And
Yeah.
I mean, with the gold pass, it's still free parking.
Right.
So you're saving
Which- $25.
Dollars. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
which is a lot. How much does it
It's-
cost to park at Disney?
at least $25. You know what? I don't
Google it real
know.
quick.
You know why?
know.
Because I don't ever have a car.
We should do that sometime.
I'm
One
not
time
interested.
we should drive a car.
I'm not interested.
Okay, one time we should fly down and rent a car.
I'm still not interested.
One time we should drive down and ask our Uber driver to
here's
park
what,
us
here's
in the
what I would
parking
do.
lot.
Okay, if you want to fly down and do the Turo thing and rent like a Tesla,
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay, we could do that.
And now that's
Hold
premium
on.
parking for kind of free.
Hold on. We fly down
Yeah.
when Test Track reopens. We buy a car at Test Track to see, first of all, can you actually do that?
Okay.
And then we park it
Yeah.
in the parking lot.
I'm for it.
Okay.
Are you
I like this
buying the
idea.
car?
Small
It'll-
side note.
we'll-
Maybe.
We'll write it off. It'll be a business expense. We had to get it for a
We
podcast.
had to get it. That's right.
So at least now they're back to the Gold Pass is the biggest pass they have. Now they have
There's no Diamond Pass?
no, there's no Diamond Pass. They have the
Aaron.
Volunteer Summer Pass. That's the lowest pass. There's the Volunteer Pass, the Season Pass, and it's like orange.
Okay.
So that's where you get that. Not
There's no
like you
Diamond
volunteer to go
Pass?
there. No, that apparently not. I'm on the website right now.
Huh.
There's the Volunteer Pass,
Jaded.
the Silver Pass, and then the Gold Pass. The Gold Pass is $254. Man, it's so much more expensive than it used to be. But at the same time, that's way cheaper than
Yeah. I just renewed my annual pass for Disney, though,
yeah.
and it was not
No,
250.
no, it was not.
Granted, I'm getting access to 4 theme parks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For 365
Also, you get because
days.
you're DVC, you get the cheaper one.
Yeah, I didn't pay for the.
I know.
the
I'm getting ready to
Incredipass.
renew mine, and I am renewing the Incredipass because that's the cheapest one I can get.
You listen. It is cheaper for you to buy into DVC and
I
get the
know.
DVC pass. than
I
it is-
know.
It's time.
That's absurd.
Yeah. So listen, I'm gonna put a bow on this Abu Dhabi talk.
Oh
Oh, hold on. $30 to park at Disney.
30. Okay. So
And
it's
that's
probably up
good.
$5
Once you
since
pay
last-
$30, you can park at all 4 parks for the
Anywhere.
whole day.
Yeah.
So you go get your car and move it around if you want to.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would.
Oh, okay, that's not
Yeah.
so bad.
Yeah. There's a cheap part of me that would be like, I'll just park at Disney Springs and hop
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, but is
somewhere.
it
You
like
probably could.
parking at UT campus here, where you pay for the pass and you might not be able to get parking?
No.
There you go. You'll get
There's
parking.
plenty of parking.
Yo,
at
Yeah.
Disney,
Mike,
yes.
that's where
Yeah.
we started with all of this. When I was mentioning
Yeah.
parking and walking into
Yeah.
Dollywood,
There's some.
I would not want to park and walk into Disney because my goodness, it's like 3 whole theme parks away.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
To the end of the
it
parking
literally is. Yeah.
There have been many times, especially going to Hollywood Studios on the Skyliner, and it brings you in over the parking lot. I'm like, can you imagine being here on a day where this is actually full?
and it's
and those days-
7 degrees outside.
Right. And those days do happen.
They do.
Like
happen.
it does happen.
Yeah.
May 4th was probably like that.
No, I don't. I have zero interest
Yeah, same.
in doing that at all.
100%.
You know.
Yep.
2030.
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi is open. That's 5 years. Is that long enough to build a theme park? Feels like it.
2030.
Let's say.
I mean,
it-
that's how
let's
long it
say
took him to
is.
build Tron and to redo the concrete at Epcot. So,
Oh,
yeah, if you combine those two
God,
things, they can
that-
pave it and build
so
one roller
much
coaster.
shade, man. Okay, so let's say 2032.
That's probably fair
Abu
if we're
Dhabi.
being honest.
Are you going,
Yeah, I'm in.
Aaron?
If I have the money to go to,
It's 2032.
you're
got
you're
plenty
right.
of time
I'll
to
definitely
save.
have plenty of money. The world is going great right now. I will 100% be able to go to Abu Dhabi whenever
Yeah.
when 2032
See?
rolls around,
Look at that.
assuming I'm alive.
Hey,
Yeah,
listen, I appreciate that optimism, honestly.
absolutely. That would be a blast.
Okay, well, so it looks like there could be some planning in the future, possibly for us.
Yeah.
Speaking of planning, let's talk about how planning a Disney World trip
Yeah.
has changed over the years. So we've been going to Disney parks for a while. I think like a lot of people, I think I know this story right. You know, we started off, you would do a trip to Disney every once in a while,
Sure. Yeah.
and then at some point it became we're going once a year,
Yep.
and then oops,
Yep.
turns out we went twice in a year, and now multiple times.
Oops. I went twice last month.
You did?
I did not go twice last
Oh.
month.
I thought you did go twice.
Did you go
I
twice
think
in a
you did go
30-day
twice
span?
in this month because it was either the very end of last month or the beginning of this month, and then you just got
I'm
back.
going
right?
again in 3 weeks.
Is that with families? That
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just went a couple days ago for one night.
I'm so
Yeah.
jealous because the idea of a solo Disney trip sounds like a freaking blast to me.
So
Yeah.
we're going much more frequently than
Yeah.
every other year at this
Yes.
point.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
venture. So how would you say that your approach to planning a Disney trip has changed over the years?
Well, definitely when you're planning the trip, and this is like, a once in a lifetime trip, or at least a once in a very long time trip.
Yep.
And I'm gonna say very long time being even like 5 years. Which granted is not that long of a time period, but like if you're going and you're not coming back for 5 years, or even really 2 years, you're gonna have like I've got to get everything packed in, right?
Yes.
So first of all, you're probably planning more nights.
Yep.
I'm planning a longer stay.
Okay.
In my opinion, that would be kind of my thought,
Right.
because you're
This
not
is the
going to.
big one.
Yeah, it's the big one. There's 4 parks you're not going to get them done in 4 days.
You're not.
So I think you're planning more nights. You're hacking your days a lot more. You're planning on rope dropping parks
Yep.
every day. You're
staying till fireworks or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever show.
And it's a huge debate. Are we going to go back and hang out at the resort in the afternoon, or are we just going to power through? You want to get all the lightning lanes. You want to get all the dining reservations. You want to make sure you miss nothing.
Do you remember? I don't do this as much anymore. Well, what I'm getting ready to say, I don't ever do because you can't. But used to dining reservations, the window opened 180 days in advance.
Yeah,
so that's 6 months.
That stopped during COVID, right?
It did.
Because they deleted, I remember that because we had a trip booked at the time.
Okay.
And got a notification hey, all your dining is going to be deleted and you're just going to have to redo it. Because in fairness to them, they cut way down on their dining capacity. Right. And so it became just a free for all to get whatever you could get. But yeah. 6 months lead time.
6 months in advance and that's when Fast passes. You can make fast pass. Was that Fast Pass Plus? Was that iteration?
It might have been. Yeah.
And it was
before Genie.
It was before, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, because it was still free.
Yep. Yeah. Right. Things that will never come back.
Things that will, never come back. So I think it was 180 days in advance.
I think that's right. It was a really, really long lead time on being able to get your dining reservations. I do remember that. So far in advance that honestly, it was almost too far in advance.
I agree.
How am I supposed to know what I want to eat 6 months from now?
Yeah.
And then too, of course, even then, because it doesn't matter. It could be 180 days in advance. It could be 10 days in advance. No matter what you do, some of those restaurants are going to book up immediately.
They are.
And so now for the next 180 days, you're going to be constantly checking back to see, has it opened up?
Opened?
Right.
Yeah.
Can we get Chef Mickey's for breakfast?
Right.
Which, on a side note, I feel like getting dining reservations now overall is a whole lot easier. Which
easier.
Might be because there's less people going.
It could be.
But
now it's a 60-day window.
Right.
And so, and I will say, I do, if there's something that I know that I want.
Yes.
I put a reminder in my calendar, get up at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
To start the process.
Especially if it's one that you know is going to be hard to get.
Yeah. I don't know of one, maybe Topolino's.
Sure.
That's been kind of tough to get.
Yeah.
Space 220 was one for me for a while. And I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I did. I ate there again in March.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was fine.
I would agree.
I got the bill and I was like, I don't know that this is
So I've eaten there 3 times now.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you've never been and space is cool,
it's an incredible atmosphere.
It's a really cool place to eat. It's an awesome place to go once.
Honestly, I got a steak and it was almost like they had seared it and then microwaved it.
Yeah.
I got the same thing both the times that I went, which was the filet mignon, and that is like my go-to.
Yeah, that wasn't even an option
food
when I was there.
Really? Okay.
No,
well,
it was
the first one I got
ribeye.
was incredible. Like, it was fantastic. And then the second one, I was like, okay, I don't know if the ambiance had wore off at that point or what, but it was definitely, it was good.
Mhm.
Like, I ate the whole thing. And the verts and whatnot.
Yep.
It was not as good.
So mine came with fries, and
Okay.
not like
And not like a steak frites. It was like,
that's what they called it.
well, yeah.
But like
Interesting.
it was the normal Disney fries with maybe a little seasoning on it.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it was Lennon and I that went.
Sure. Okay.
And so it was the first time he'd ever been, and he ate it up.
Sure.
It was we sat right next to the windows or the screen,
Which again is super cool.
Yeah,
It's one of the coolest restaurants I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Man.
it was the whole thing. Loved all that. But I don't know if you're like, hey, I got a reservation. You want to go? Yes, I will go.
Yeah.
But will I get it? Will that be the one that I'll get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to try to get now? No.
No, and I'll be honest. Even if you're like, hey, I got a reservation, do you want to go? I'd almost be like, well, I don't know what else is going on.
Yeah.
is there a festival going on, and have I tried all the stuff outside? Is there anything I would rather get again at the festival?
I'll be honest with
know?
you. If you told me I could go to Space 220 and get a steak, that's going to be $60.
Sure.
Or I could get the little steak outside of the Canada, the little booth, whatever they got going on.
Yep.
For $10.
Yeah.
I'd honestly pay for 6 of those before.
I think I would agree with that. If for no other reason than not only I do agree, it's not going to be worse. Not that much worse.
It's not going to be worse.
It's also going to be a lot faster. That's the other thing about Space 220 that kind of
fast.
It's not fast. I mean, like, you really need to plan on an hour and a half.
Yeah. Now, what's up? We got trading cards. Did you guys get trading cards?
We did. When
Trading
I went with
Okay.
Emily and the boys.
Yeah, I was going to say
That's new. I don't
when
have
the
any
3 of
trading
us
cards.
went.
Yeah, we didn't get it.
We did not get them, but I had Lennon with me, and they're like, "Hey, do you guys want some trading cards?" I'm like, yes, I do.
So they've changed that place up like literally every year.
Yeah, so when I went, like, the menu was more or less the same as when we went.
Mhm.
A couple changes here and there, which I would expect. But yeah, the trading card things is definitely like they hand out trading cards to the kids, which is cool. But then, like, who are they going to trade these cards with?
No,
What are they going to do with them?
No,
Like,
They're all about the collector things that you can only get there, like the pins, and
The
so
limited
now
edition.
you got to come back to Space 220 again next time,
That's
so
right.
you can get whatever the other card
I,
is. What even was the card? Was it a planet? What was it?
No,
Pretty much
well,
space cards.
And yes, and
Well,
there,
they have
there are
X-wings in the thing, like
was
flying
gonna say-
around. So
there are references to Disney.
Yep.
A lot of it's references to either Mission Space or is it Horizons?
yes, yep,
And that's again that was super cool.
yep.
Man, where was I going with this? I don't even remember.
they have trading cards.
Yeah. Forget it. Oh well. I completely lost my train of thought.
Podcasting.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with this, but
Proof that we don't have a script.
no, there is no script. There are just only ideas, and
Right.
we go where the conversation goes. But as far as I remember when we first started going to Disney, we drove.
Sure. Okay.
That's one thing. We drove down. We would typically stay off property the first night.
Yep.
Then we would, I say transfer, but we drove. In
Sure.
this case, drove on property. We would stay, I don't know, probably 3-4 nights, something like that. And then we would drive off property. So we'd do the whole day at Disney,
Gotcha.
drive off property, stay off property for a night, and then drive
Okay.
back home.
Okay.
That's typically what we would do.
Yep.
And that's slowly changed.
Yep.
My off property stay now is staying at Pop Century.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
something. It's been replaced. And,
Yeah.
and if we're staying DVC, we'll transfer to DVC. We almost every trip, we do a split stay.
Okay.
Almost every single one.
Okay. I've never done a split stay.
It's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, Disney will transfer your luggage for you.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I literally, sometimes it's depending on where you're at. But
Sure.
you'll call Bell Services and say, hey, well, we're transferring. We're just going to see if somebody could come pick up our luggage. And they come to the room, pick up your luggage. They hand you a little tag, and then at some point, you go check in and give them your little tag, and they bring stuff to your room. I mean, you got to tip, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
whatever.
You don't have to tip.
Well, you don't have. You should. That's the Lord says you should. And we almost. Not every time, but even so, Leslie and I are going down for 3 days at the end of July, and we're doing a split stay.
Right.
We're
Okay.
going to stay at Coronado Destino Tower for a night,
Right.
and then we're transferring and staying on points at Bay Lake.
Nice.
So
See, I know that because it shows up in my app too.
Oh, that's right. You know everywhere I'm going.
I do. And it
But-
confuses me every time. I'm
But-
like, I didn't know I was going.
No, the thing that confuses me more than that is when I'm looking through photos and like,
Yep.
hey, is this a picture of you? And I'm like, no, I wasn't there.
Right.
And then I look like,
Yep.
looks like Brit.
Yep. Same thing. I
So,
did the same thing. I was looking through. I was like, oh, when did I write all this? And it wasn't. It was you.
No,
Yep.
yeah, it's completely different. Yeah. So that's definite. That part of it has changed. I do not feel like I have to do everything.
No,
That's
not
probably
at
the
all.
biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, if it wasn't for me having to make park reservations, being
Sure.
and a pass holder, which
Yep.
I hate that.
I do too. It's such a minor thing,
Minor.
but it still is like, it's just an irritation, to be honest.
It is.
Yep.
Because at this point, so there was the one side where we were talking about 6 months in advance. You had to know, where do you want to eat?
Right.
Where at that point you had to know what park you're going to, because I'm making fast pass
Yep.
selections, right? fast forward
Yep.
to today, and I just want to kind of get up. I want to go to Disney. I
Yeah.
know I'm going to Disney. I know where I'm going to stay. I know that if there's certain restaurants I want to try to get
Yeah.
into, I know when I'm gonna. Okay, I plan that out. But the rest of the day, I just want to see what happens.
Yeah.
I literally just, hey, we're gonna go to Magic Kingdom today, and like there's things I want to do.
Sure.
I want to do Tron. I want to do Space Mountain. I want
Sure.
to do. But if I don't, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, if the wait time gets down, hey, let's go do it.
Yep. Yep.
So,
That's- And I do think that's a huge thing. Like once you got the annual pass and you know that it costs me nothing extra to walk into the park
Yeah.
anytime I want to. And again, to be clear, living in Knoxville, because we have Allegiant that flies down there every single day. Shout out Allegiant.
yeah,
Please give us a sponsorship.
please,
You know,
we'll fly anywhere.
anywhere,
Yeah,
especially Orlando or
especially
Sanford.
Orlando.
You know,
Especially to Sanford.
yeah,
I'll probably even fly to Vegas.
I would do that. I would go to Vegas. They should put a Disney in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like a Disney themed casino.
Surprised there's
I don't know.
not,
A mouse casino,
A mouse casino.
right?
other than the fact
Oh,
that maybe
gosh.
someone already owns all the land that they could have used and will not sell it for under billions and trillions of dollars.
That's
think, like-
exactly how much money Disney has.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But think about it, like you could, like Scrooge McDuck could be like your leading mascot,
Mascot.
right?
my
I mean,
gosh.
come on, it's
Yeah,
right there.
It's right. It is right there.
Come on, guys.
They won't do it, but
No, they won't. It's not family friendly.
That's fair.
But yeah, I think that, you know, having an annual pass, having a cheap and quick way to get down there definitely makes it a whole lot easier to take your time, not get everything, because like I know every time I go, I'm coming back. So whatever I missed, I didn't really miss, you know, but when it is your like once
in a
once and
lifetime.
forever type trip, you can't miss anything, you
Yeah.
know, and I don't blame people for that, especially now if you're going and like you're seeing Disney start to do all these big changes to the parks, you know, the Monsters Inc. stuff at Hollywood Studios, the new cars and villain stuff at Magic Kingdom, Tiana, right?
Tiana.
Replace Splash Mountain.
Yes.
So if you go, you better ride everything because there's no guarantee Space Mountain may not be here when you come back.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. If it's once every
Yeah.
5 years, 10 years.
Because that's the thing. In
This is
5
it.
years, I mean, I don't think Space Mountain is going anywhere,
Me neither.
but I guess I wouldn't be overly shocked if in 5 years Space Mountain isn't there anymore.
Is it Hong Kong? Their
That's
Space Mountain is gone. Oh
Yeah.
well, it will
Or
be.
yeah,
And they're building a new one.
Really? Oh, like a new Space Mountain.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
but I mean they've done the same thing with the one in Paris, right?
They have.
I mean it's been wholly rethemed from what it originally was.
Yep.
And I love Space Mountain, but I will say I would kind of be okay if they redid Space Mountain at Disney World. I know it's the original, but
It is the OG.
feels like it.
Yeah, and I love it.
I do too.
I love everything about it.
I do too.
But then I rode the one in Disneyland,
I did too.
which is way more themed,
Yes, it is.
and I was like, "Oh, this is cool."
It was
It's
better.
not the same thrill. as
It's
Disney
not.
World.
It's not, but but part of the thrill in Disney World really is like, I don't know, it's just the nostalgia of it.
It
You
is
know,
the nostalgia.
the roller coaster itself is like, it's fine.
It's I pretty much have it memorized at this point,
Same.
and out of necessity.
Yeah, you have to.
So you can
You know,
prepare
so
for
you know
the
where to
charge.
lean.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Out of necessity.
Yeah, you either have to
Uh,
know what's coming up, or you have to just go completely ragdoll and just ride it
Completely.
limp. You know.
Yeah.
But I will say there is a certain excitement that I get when I walk into the queue and I hear that music playing. That little
Yes.
that little trumpet at the beginning, you
Yep.
know, and then it gets
Yeah.
into the thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Did you know that's actually like there's words to that song,
Really.
and I can't think of the
Space
name
Mountain.
of it. It's oh crap, Google it at some point. But
Okay.
yes, when they
I got
opened
this.
it
I got
back
this.
in 1975, I think.
That sounds about right.
There was this whole theme song that they wrote for it.
Okay.
And yeah, and so that what they're playing in the Star Tunnel is that theme.
Oh, it's on genius.com so we can get people's opinions on what the lyrics are. Oh, wait, this can't
they're
be.
out there.
This can't be it.
Yeah.
Because this one is literally just, here's the description. Instrumental, spoken, 10, 9, 8,
Yeah.
7,
Now that's the Space
6,
Mountain from
5,
Disneyland.
4, 3,
Yeah.
2, 1.
Yeah.
Instrumental.
Because they do a countdown as you're
Yep.
going. As you're
That's
going
got
up
to
the
be
hill.
okay.
And
Let's see
that's
here.
I think that was composed by Michael Giacchino.
Yes.
Is that the guy?
Yep. Yeah. Man,
Who
you
did
know this too
all
well.
the Incredibles stuff?
Okay.
Same.
I was about to
it's
say, I
got the
feel like I
same vibe.
recognize
That's
the name.
cool. Yeah.
Neat. Well, yeah, weird Disney music trivia for you, but
Okay, here's some of the lyrics. We've come so far.
yes,
Yet
that's what
there's
it's
so
called.
very far to go. We've watched our dreams become reality. We have tested what the future holds in store for us. My question is, oh no, that's just someone reading it. Yeah, that's all the lyrics that they have.
Yeah, it's a simple song, but anyway, it was played at the opening of the thing, and so there's actually words.
Huh.
We've come
to
so
that.
far, promising tomorrow.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
me neither.
1985.
Until I saw a TikTok video the other day. So
Composed by George Wilkins to promote RCA.
yeah,
Space Mountain sponsored
'cause,
from 1975 to 1993.
yes.
RCA sponsored Space Mountain.
they did.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
There's because there used to be an RCA. I think there was like an RCA dog.
Did they have like
in the-
vacuum
as you
tubes in
leave.
there or
Okay.
something?
No, and then it was sponsored by FedEx. That's when I remember it. I remember it being
Sponsoring
sponsored by
Space Mountain.
FedEx.
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes a lot less sense.
it makes a lot
About
less
as
sense.
reliable as FedEx.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. Yeah. Well, anyways, so that's yeah. So planning,
Yeah.
has changed drastically.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
For me.
I think the level of detail that I used to plan to, and all of that, because I mean, I used to have it like scheduled out. This is
Mhm.
what we're doing every day.
Are you the rope drop guy?
No,
Me
no,
neither.
I'm not. I never really was, but but I would try to, like, let's get there early, not necessarily rope drop, but see, also it sort of shifted because during COVID, not only did you have to now make park reservations for everyone,
Yeah.
but you weren't allowed to park hop at all until 2 p.m.
That
You
did
know,
change.
And so that was a big shift in planning. And honestly, since then, it sort of goes hand in hand. I've since gotten an annual pass. I go a lot more. But the 2 p.m. park hopping restriction went away. So I
Good.
quit planning my park hopping,
Right.
based around that. I quit trying to figure out how much I could get done until about 1:30.
And then go.
And then go.
There was also you could count on this lull between like
Yes.
1 to 2
You could.
as people were leaving to go to the next park.
Yep.
And you could do some stuff.
You could.
And then 2:00 hit, and everybody who was gonna park hopping, they were there at
Yep.
that point. But you had a moment
You did.
where if you wanted to hit that big e-ticket attraction,
Yep.
that was the time. In the
Yep.
middle,
You
middle
could.
of the
And
day.
that is kind of the unfortunate thing about it, because I will say you could, if you went to Epcot in the morning before park hopping, nobody was there.
Right.
Everybody park hops there in the afternoon
Yep.
and finishes their day at Epcot because there's a lot of food there.
Lots of food. And World Showcase doesn't even really open until it's
It
like
really
11
doesn't.
o'clock.
Yeah, 11 o'clock or so is
I think
about
it's
when it
things
opens.
start getting
Um,
moving.
And so, yeah, that's the thing. You could go to Epcot in the morning, ride all the rides. There's nobody there.
Yeah.
Now, Guardians didn't exist yet at the time.
Yeah.
um,
Well, and even if it did, it was a virtual queue.
Right.
So
And so, you had that going on. Animal Kingdom, you pretty much had to go in the morning. You could park hop at 2, but I mean, there for a while it closed at like 3:30 or something.
Yeah,
It closed weirdly
super
early. I mean, it
early.
legitimately, I think it was closing at
and this
like,
was after they spent all this money to say, hey, we're going to keep the park open at night. And
Right.
we're going to do this nighttime safari. And
Yep.
then they went, nah,
Anything
just
glow in the
Right.
dark. Yeah.
3:30.
yeah. Because it was, I mean,
3:30.
legitimately during COVID, I think it closed most nights at like 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
6 if they were keeping it open late.
And I would say even
it
now,
still closes early.
pro tip, if you want to do stuff at Animal Kingdom, go later in the day because literally
Yeah.
everybody still hits it up.
Yep.
In the morning.
They do.
They ride Expedition Everest.
Yep.
They ride Flight of Passage.
Yep.
They do
Kilimanjaro Safari.
Kilimanjaro.
Yep.
And then they head out.
Yep.
And it's I've done the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm guilty
me
of doing
too.
the same thing.
Me too. I like being, first of all, I like being at all the parks. There's something about being there like first thing in the morning. I love it.
Right.
All 4 parks are great first thing in the morning. But I do agree with you that Animal Kingdom, everybody else is doing that too.
Mhm.
There
They
are
are.
very few people that are arriving at Animal Kingdom after about noon.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
which is when you should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're not going to see the animals.
No, because it gets too hot.
It gets too hot.
If you really want to, like, the best time for a safari is like 9 a.m.
Is
Park opens at 8.
get there early.
Get there early, head on back and do that. The animals are up. That's usually around the time they're feeding them. So like there's a lot of activity. It's a lot of fun. So Kilimanjaro Safari, definitely best. First thing in the morning.
Yes.
It's not going to be great in the afternoon, but everything else is just fine in the afternoon.
Yeah. It's
And you're right, there's
fine.
less people.
And I've yet to be at a Disney park. You talked about the morning,
Yeah.
at night. Disney parks are beautiful at night.
I agree.
I mean, they are. Sometimes I would go just to walk.
Yep.
I could go and just walk around.
Yep.
Not ride anything.
Sure.
Not. I'd probably have to eat because I like
Yeah.
to eat and the food
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
But I could walk around and enjoy some snacks
Sure.
Yeah.
and not actually do an attraction.
Yep.
And be just fine.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's literally every Disney park I've been to.
Yep.
And I always want to be at Animal Kingdom at night, specifically
Yeah.
Pandora.
Yeah. Which is beautiful at night.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
But there's only about 3 weeks a year you get to see it.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're changing it up, and granted during the summer they're not going to be open until 10 o'clock.
That's the thing is during the summer, especially once you get into daylight savings, the sun goes down so late. They're not going to keep the park open late enough for you to really enjoy it. So, and then of course the problem is in the wintertime when the sun goes down early enough, they start closing the park earlier and earlier.
They do.
You know, it's not uncommon in the wintertime, even still, like this past year, it wasn't uncommon to see it closing at like 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You know, and the problem is when the sun goes down at 6:15, you know, there's just not a whole lot of time to be in the park.
There's
after
not,
dark.
and Disney has not found the nighttime show for Animal
I agree.
Kingdom.
They have not. Yeah.
You know, they did that run of, I can't even think of the name of it. I saw it one time. I was sitting at a weird angle, so the projections were all messed up. And
Where
it
they would
was
project it on
just-
the Tree of Life.
No, like with this amphitheater thing that they built.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm talking
yeah.
about?
I didn't. Yeah.
Rivers of Light
Yes.
is what it was called.
Yeah.
And they
They don't
had,
do anything with that amphitheater anymore. I don't think
well, you can sit in it during the day.
you can do that.
And that's the thing. Like, it's a beautiful spot.
And huge.
Yeah. And you could really, they could do something with that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was just, did it stress the animals out?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I've heard a little bit of both. I have heard that a big part of it is the animals, that it does, having the guests in the park late at night, all the noise, all the activity, the lights does bother the animals. And that is totally fair. And
It
I
is
get that.
fair.
it would bother me too if I'm trying to go to sleep and everybody keeps walking by my bedroom,
Yes.
and pointing at me.
Yes.
And so I get it. But I do think the other part too is I think there's no doubt that the demand for the 4 parks, of the 4 of them, Animal Kingdom was the lowest demand park.
Yes.
I think it is.
But I'll say this: the past couple times I've been there, if you're looking, I'm basing this on
Sure.
people getting on a bus
Sure. Okay.
in the morning,
Well, that's fair.
and it's in high demand.
It is.
You know what surprises the crap out of me are all these kids that are going, like
Sure.
teenagers. I say kids. I didn't mean that. That sounded
You
judgmental.
know.
I didn't mean to say.
It can be judgmental. You're old enough for that now.
Yeah, I'm almost 40. Not quite though. I got a few years. But you know what I mean? Like there were, because that's where thrill rides are.
Sure.
You know, I mean, again, with Everest and a
Yeah.
Flight of Passage,
Dinosaur.
it's, man, peace be upon it. So yeah, but they were going to ride.
Yeah,
That kind of stuff.
that's
Probably Cali
Yeah,
River
Cali
Rapids.
River Rapids. Yeah.
And so anyways, the past couple times I've been, this is judgmental, but as I described into Lennon as a herd of idiots.
Well, yeah.
And he's like, Dad, why is that? I was like, you'll be an idiot too one day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Soon. Really.
Yeah. Your mother still thinks I'm an idiot.
That's
you know,
fair.
but
Yeah.
here we are. So in that case, I would say that. But you're like,
Yeah.
overall, I agree.
Yeah.
The demand at Animal Kingdom was probably less than
Yeah.
any
Well,
of the other
and it is.
fruit parks.
It's also definitely. It is. Unless you really just want to walk around, take your time, look at everything, enjoy all the scenery of the park, not just the exhibits, but just the scenery itself. And I will say, I do think it is the most beautiful park to walk around in.
I agree.
I think it is. It's growing on me as one of my favorites to just walk around and spend time in.
Yep. Food is good.
The food is good. They have the best overall quick service food
Yeah.
of all 4 parks.
And maybe getting close to table service.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
yeah.
I'm not trying to backpedal, but I'm trying to. I'm thinking
mean,
through it.
yeah.
I've never had Tiffin's, but I hear nothing but good things.
Yep.
About it.
Yep.
Yak and Yeti,
Yeah.
which is very good.
Yep.
What's the
Tusker House.
yes.
Yeah. Tusker House is good.
Excellent.
Yep. Character dining even.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know if we want to count Rainforest Cafe. It's kind of its own thing,
And
but you know,
I don't know that I would-
it's
Yeah.
there.
It's there.
It's an
There is a
experience.
Rainforest
There
Cafe
is a
there,
Rainforest Cafe. It is
and
an
a secret
experience.
entrance to the park through the Rainforest
There
Cafe.
is.
So
Yeah.
Disney hack.
And like even their snacks, they got all this like fancy mac and cheese.
They do.
Yeah, I mean there's some excellent food
Yeah.
choices. You know, I don't know that I'm going there over Epcot for food.
No, I'm
But-
not either. But granted, part of that is simply because I just like what there is at Epcot. I do think,
I agree.
especially if we're considering a festival time, right?
Yes.
Now that
It's kind of
they're-
unfair to compare
Yeah.
food.
Now that they're going the entire summer without a festival for some reason.
Are they?
Yeah.
I don't know if I was paying that close
Yeah.
attention.
So Flower and
Because
Garden
Food and
ends.
Wine typically starts in July.
Food and Wine starts at the end of August.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm kind of happy.
Flower and Garden ends June 2nd.
Okay.
And Food and Wine starts up, I believe, the end of August.
Wow. Okay.
So they have, conspiracy theory is that they're going to add another festival during the summer, and
Oh.
they've kind of like gapped it out here so that they have that space, which I do think is probably what they're ultimately going to do.
And it's needed.
Because at this point they've kind of built modern day Epcot is built around those festivals. That's what anchors the park.
That it is.
Um,
And it kind of does harken back to if we're like thinking of World Showcase, if it's going to be a World's Fair,
yeah, that's
type
true.
deal,
That's true.
and which half of the park is dedicated to being
A permanent World's Fair.
eternal
Yeah,
World's Fair.
absolutely.
Then having these festivals, I think, makes sense.
Yeah. And it has always been odd to me that because they do Festival of the Arts real short, but then they do Flower and Garden during the spring. That's their spring festival. And then Food and Wine would start middle of summer and
Yeah.
go all the way to Thanksgiving.
It's
you know,
huge.
And it's just honestly, it's too much.
Right.
Food and Wine, in my opinion.
But you've also walked around Epcot when there's no festival, but
Yeah.
the festival booths are still there.
Yeah, it's very sad.
It's sad.
It's weird and it's sad, and it takes something away from the World Showcase, which is kind
It
of a
does.
bummer. I wish they would just get rid of the booths so that you could walk around and just enjoy the World Showcase.
Right.
But it kind of bums you out, or bums me out at least, walking around and seeing all the empty booths that man, remember that fun time I had when there was a festival here?
Yeah.
And now it's just
And I love this
this
food.
booth. Yeah.
I love
It
this.
is definitely disappointing to see the empty booths because the first
Yeah,
time I was
yeah.
there was festivals, and then the second time there wasn't one. I was like, they don't just tear these down. Why
Yeah.
are they still here?
Yep.
They're up. I mean, 365. Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do think they will add a summer festival at some point. I'm
Yeah.
really kind of surprised they didn't this year. I thought they would this year for
Right.
two reasons. One, you've got the date range to do it. And
Sure.
not just a short one. Like you could put a pretty legit one in there.
You could.
And then two, I thought that would be a nice counterpunch to Epic Universe.
Yeah.
Hey, Epic Universe is opening, and this isn't the same. Let's not pretend like an Epcot festival.
It's not, but
is
it's
the
a
same as New
reason to
Park.
go.
It is.
If you're local,
And it's a new thing.
it's a new thing.
You got to come down and try it out. Come check out what we've done.
First one of the year, or
Yeah.
first one ever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
So I would look for that next year in 2026. I bet they will announce. I bet that'll be one of their big announcements is a new festival at Epcot.
Sure.
But yes, I would agree that I would put Epcot. I like Epcot better food wise than
Right.
Animal Kingdom. But drop me an Animal Kingdom. Give me some money to go find some food.
You'll find it.
Oh yeah, and it'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll blow the socks off of anything Magic Kingdom has.
Oh gosh.
Magic Kingdom has the worst. It's the worst food.
Yes.
All around is the worst food.
Yes. And I still find things to eat there.
I do too. And I find food that I enjoy there.
Yes.
But overall, it's the worst food.
Yes. I completely agree. If I'm ranking them, we should have saved this for another day. Bottom of my list is Magic Kingdom, and I probably honestly go Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, Epcot. And there are things that I love at Hollywood Studios, and we've already talked about this
Yep.
at some point. But that buffalo chicken grilled cheese sandwich is incredible.
Yep. No, I think that's the right order for me. Now again, I guess, again, to clarify, Epcot with festival, Epcot without festival. If it's Epcot without festival, I'd still probably give it to Epcot, but I don't know.
Just
I mean,
because of the variety.
there is a
You
huge
you
variety.
still have, if you want Mexican, great. If you want Japanese, great. If you want,
Yep.
whatever from
But I mean,
Sunshine Seasons, great.
but if you want African food,
Yeah,
you've got it.
you're
If
right.
you want barbecue,
Barbecue,
you've
yeah,
got
no.
it. If you like,
If
it's,
you want pizza,
yeah,
nah.
you know,
Just
yeah, Asian food. I mean, it is.
that's true. It's fair, and maybe that's
Yeah.
why it's appealing. Like maybe that's why it's up there.
It
Because
kinda-
at Magic
yeah.
Kingdom, it's like, you want a burger?
Yeah,
You want a hot dog?
Pinocchio pizza.
yeah, a flatbread. It's not a pizza. It's a flatbread.
Right. My
Yeah,
bad. That is pretty much the only thing.
honestly,
I eat
that's my
there,
go-to these days.
Yeah,
I think we
that-
talked about
mine too.
this maybe last
Yeah, I
episode,
think
but
we did.
that's
Or Casey's Corner, the hot dogs. Those are the
Yeah.
Pinocchio Village House, Casey's Corner. Those are the two best. I will say though,
yeah.
they do have some good sit downs. Because
Skipper Canteen.
Skipper Canteen is really good.
Yeah.
Although kind of an odd menu. But I think it's
It
really good.
is.
I also thought Be Our Guest was fantastic when I ate there.
Yeah, you
I
know,
loved
it's
it.
been years since I've eaten there.
Yeah, well, and of course did you eat there when it was still like quick service lunch?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I never ate there
I
when it was
did.
quick service lunch. I know a lot of people are like really upset now that that's gone.
It's just, I don't love this move that Disney's going to where everything's prefixed.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
I'm with you on that.
especially when like even for kids, it's if we go to a character breakfast, it's $25.
Yeah.
But my kids will eat like some fruit. Well,
Right.
especially Joey. Lennon's different, but
Sure.
But she's gonna eat some fruit, and maybe half a waffle and some yogurt, and I just paid $25 for that.
Yep.
And like I'm paying $55 for myself.
Yep.
And and Leslie. And the breakfast is
It's fine.
it's fine.
It's a buffet breakfast.
It's not worth $55.
It is not.
And
Now hold on. Unless you go to Topolino.
I'm thinking character. Like I'm thinking.
I
we were
know.
Just
I
at
know
Cape
what you- yeah.
May's or Chef
Yeah.
Mickey's.
I agree with you. Go to
Yeah.
Topolino's.
Here's the side. This doesn't. Most of you won't care. I don't like eggs,
Okay.
and most breakfast items come
Yeah,
with eggs.
that's true.
And so when I looked at going to Topolino's,
Yep.
I'm getting waffles, and now I'm paying
Just
a lot of money.
learn to eat eggs, man.
Bro, I can't, man. It's a texture thing. I can't do it. They look good. Like the omelets
Man.
look incredible
Yeah.
to me. The whole what's the
Breaks
stuff
my
with
heart.
the hollandaise sauce or whatever? Is it eggs Benedict?
Oh yeah, eggs Benny,
it looks
man. It is incredible.
I
Yeah.
don't like eggs.
I know. I can't.
Of
do
all
it.
the things that you-
like it doesn't matter how they're cooked. You
None.
just don't like it.
And, there's
That's like one of the most like varied texture of foods you can get. Like
it's
eggs
not.
can be
It's-
so different.
It's I don't know. I can't explain it to you. But there's other things like some vegetables and stuff I don't love.
Sure.
But if you put it in a casserole or something, I'll eat it.
Yeah.
Like even a breakfast casserole.
Yep.
That's mostly like sausage and Bisquick.
Sure.
I can't.
With some eggs in there, you're like, no,
I
no.
cannot do
Which
it.
mostly eggs,
Yeah.
honestly, casseroles.
Yeah.
A breakfast casserole.
I can't.
God, that breaks my heart. I love eggs.
I can't do it. I wish me too. I wish I did because every good breakfast comes with freaking eggs.
Well,
It does.
So I'll get there.
yeah,
I
one of
don't
these
know that
days.
I'll do with the carrot. I'd rather if I'm going to do in Topolino's, I'd rather go at night and
Yeah, that's yeah.
you know.
I've never been at night, but they have a great looking menu at least.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful restaurant at a beautiful
So I
resort.
want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've been talking about some trip planning
Yeah.
probably. Let me ask you this: Do you guys have a one thing that you do every Disney trip? So I know, like you mentioned, hey, I'm going down. I got an annual pass. There's if I miss something, I get it next time. But is there something that you seek to do like,
every time I'm there.
Every
Every
time.
time.
And you can say multiple things.
No. Tiki room.
Oh my.
I do the tiki room every time.
Seriously, every
I
single
love the
time.
tiki room.
I don't
I
even say-
unironically love it.
I don't even hate it,
Yeah.
but I don't do it every time.
I go every time, and I love it every time. I do that, and I try to do Carousel of Progress. Now, this last time that I went, I did not make it over to Magic
Yeah.
Kingdom, and it hurt my heart a little.
Can you say you've done a Disney trip if you don't go to Magic Kingdom?
That is literally the heart of Disney.
I mean, I just went,
And you
and I
didn't?
didn't go to the Magic Kingdom. But I'll be honest, it was more of an Epcot trip than it was a Disney trip.
Right.
Like
But you were
Epcot's
going
great.
specifically for.
that's what I was there for.
And you were just there for a night.
Yeah,
right?
just one night.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that your trip doesn't count.
No, but I'm with you on that. Like even then though, like to be clear, I was at Disney, but I don't know that it really counts for me as a Disney trip because I was just at Epcot.
Let me rewind this, and we'll get back on this. You're going. Let's say you're going, and it's going to be a 4-day trip, whatever. Do you always start with Magic Kingdom?
No.
Okay.
In fact, I almost never start with Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. We used to. We
Yeah.
typically always went in order.
Sure.
We went Magic, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom. And we might hop or whatever, but like that's how we were starting our days.
That's fair. So I do mine based on the first thing I do, because the dining reservations open at 60 days. Where do we want to eat?
Yeah.
And I kind of loosely plan out where when I plan to get those dining reservations. And then once I have my dining reservations locked in, I use that to sort of determine which park am I going to be at,
Yeah.
If
I do
we-
mine by where we're staying at this point. I told you we
Okay.
do split stays.
Right. Okay.
So,
So what's nearby?
well, generally we'll do like Pop Century, something like
Okay.
that. I like Bus Plus.
Sure.
And then usually we'll stay somewhere around Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
And so, in general, if I'm staying at, Pop Century, somewhere like that,
Yep.
Skyliner,
Yep.
Epcot, Hollywood Studios.
Yep.
That's the place to be.
Yep.
And then when we go to, Magic Kingdom, stay somewhere near Magic Kingdom, I'm going to Magic
Okay.
Kingdom because
Yeah.
that's what's there.
That's fair.
And then at some point, I know I'm going to have to make an hour and a half long bus ride
Yep.
to Animal Kingdom watch.
Yep.
But that is typically now that is the order. And we used to always screw that up. And we would stay at Pop Century and we'd go to Magic Kingdom.
Sure.
And then we would stay, at Bay Lake or Grand Floridian, walking distance of Magic Kingdom, and we were going to Hollywood Studios. So it's
Right.
like, this makes no sense.
Right.
We've got to stop
So
this
you're
crap.
just riding the bus all the time.
That's
Yep.
what it feels like.
Yep. Yeah, I do plan some of it like that. Like if we're going to Magic Kingdom for the day, then I'm perfectly fine to do dinner in Epcot because we can hop on the monorail and go over
Yep.
there. Same thing. Generally I will say this. Generally my evenings are going to end in Epcot. Like that's okay. Or
Sure.
Disney Springs or wherever. It doesn't always end up that way.
Yeah.
I'm not usually looking to end my day at Hollywood Studios.
So you don't do fireworks or any of that kind of stuff?
Not there. Well, we've
Yeah.
done Phantasmic like once.
Our family loves Phantasmic. So
That's-
like if there's one that we're going to see, it's going to be Fantastic.
That's fair. I need to give it another shot.
Yeah.
When I went, it was just a massive crowd, and it wasn't.
It is. And I'll tell you this too: if you can do it, and they're doing 2 showings, do
sure.
the second one.
Okay.
Ride everything you want to ride during the first one,
Okay.
and then go to the second one.
Okay.
It's still crowded.
That's a good plan though.
but it's less crowded.
I'll try that.
Yeah.
I'll try that. But yeah, no, I love the fireworks shows. Really at Magic Kingdom and at Epcot. I love both of them.
Which is funny because we typically don't.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Leslie almost refuses to watch the one at Epcot.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
We saw it when it was
have beef now.
Harmonious.
Sure. Yeah.
It's Luminous now, right?
Luminous now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So we saw it when it was Harmonious. Weird angle.
Yeah.
We missed out on some of the projections.
Yeah. Which is easy to do.
And we did the whole thing where, you sit there for an hour.
Yeah.
You're trying to find this good viewing spot. We didn't have a good viewing spot.
Yeah.
And it just
So
was lost.
I will say this. Harmonious was fine. It was okay. I liked the music for Harmonious.
Yeah.
I like Luminous a lot better.
Yeah.
Because first of all, there's really not a bad viewing angle. There's no more screens. There's no more projection. So literally, if you can see the water, you're seeing all of the show because they do like the lighting and the water cannons and all that down low.
Okay.
And there are some low fireworks, but again, all you have to do is be able to see the water. You don't have to be. And then the other thing too that I do that I've just resigned myself to, and I'm perfectly happy with this. If I'm going to watch the Epcot fireworks, I'm going to either watch it from like somewhere over like around China. What's the country? So let's see, because it's Norway, China, and then
Germany.
Germany. Okay,
Well,
the
you've got
little
the
like
weird like Africa.
the little Africa area
Quasi-Africa.
between. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great place to watch it from.
Okay.
There's some tables right there over the bridge. It's right in front of where the India booth is
Yeah.
when they do food and wine.
Gotcha.
Right in front of there's a great place to watch it from.
Okay.
Or Japan.
Yeah.
Japan is another great place to watch it from. Now here's the problem. You're a long way away from any of the park exits.
You are.
But here's what you do.
Unless you're the International Gateway.
And you can just walk back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. But if you're going to Skyliner,
Yeah.
you're going to wait. But here's the thing. I try to get a drink at like 8:55. Park closes at 9, right? Fireworks start at 9. Sit there, enjoy my drink, watch a beautiful fireworks show. And then honestly, I'm just going to hang out for like another 20, 30 minutes. I'm not going to fight this crazy crowd. They're all going to rush to it. They're going to get on. I'll wait a little bit. But like, especially for the Skyliner, like when I stay at Pop Century,
Right.
that Skyliner line, it is not as long as you think it is.
It moves quick.
It moves. It moves.
does.
I would much rather wait in that line than I would a
Yeah.
bus line. And if you really just absolutely can't wait in a line, you walk out, you walk past the Skyliner line, you keep on going, you head right over to Beach Club, you walk into the lobby, you pull out your phone, you get an Uber back to
Uber.
wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
And you're back in
I've
10
done
minutes.
that.
Yeah. For $12.
A couple times.
Yeah.
I haven't Ubered back to my resort, but
Oh, I
I
have.
need. Well, there was a time I was trying to rush to get to. Well, no, I actually did. I had to go back to the resort I was staying at to get my stuff
I remember
to get
that.
to the airport.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that's when I ran through the rain to the beach club.
Yep.
To get an Uber.
Yep. Well, because didn't you ran to the Skyliner only to find out the Skyliner was down? Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to the Skyliner. It goes down. You
Yep.
got to take a bus.
Yeah. Which is now back at the front of the park.
So I go to the buses, and they say, "We're not running buses.
The Skyliner.
You got to
right?
take the Skyliner." So then I had to go back into Epcot and run all the way through, and I was like, "Screw this!"
So this is where you've gone like 3.5 miles.
yeah, exactly. It's one of the only times I've ever ran in Disney. In general,
Sure.
I try not to run.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
So
And sometimes you have to.
and I made my flight. Yeah. So we used to do that. We pretty much always go to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
At some point, we will be there.
Yep.
I've done trips where Magic Kingdom is the last day,
Yeah.
and it
We have
feels
to.
weird. It almost feels like I haven't been to Disney
Okay.
until I go to Magic Kingdom.
So that is one thing Emily really likes on the final night. She likes Magic Kingdom to be the last park we walk out of.
Okay.
Not necessarily like we may have visited it earlier during the trip. Like
Right.
that might have been the first park we
Yeah.
went to even. But like on the last night, walking out, like this is it. There's the castle. We walk down a bright lit up Main Street and we walk out from there.
So we often, if we're flying, whenever the day that our flight's leaving, whatever. I like Magic Kingdom to be the last park
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
I'm at as well. So we'll, and sometimes
Fair.
that means we get up and go to breakfast at Magic Kingdom,
Sure.
or just hang out or whatever. But then we leave Magic Kingdom. Hopefully, we're walking back to our resort, and
Yep.
then we're getting in our Uber to reality.
Yeah.
The Tragical Express.
Yeah.
Aaron, is there a must do that you do every time?
I don't. That's hard. That's hard to say. Like, I feel like I'll just go with the easy answer for now.
Okay.
And that is just, I got to ride Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
every
Yeah,
single
that's
time.
a fair one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would
Although
agree with
there's times I go with Leslie, she doesn't ride it, and I don't ride it, but
Yeah.
I do not have this weakness.
yeah, yet. The thing that we probably ride every time, I think, when we go to Epcot is Soarin'. That's when she
I
likes
love
it,
Soarin'.
So we'll ride it almost every time.
But I'll be honest, for me at Epcot, I love Soarin'. I love Living with the Land. I love Spaceship Earth.
Yeah,
I love Test Track, even though it's not there right now.
me too.
Ratatouille to me is fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, it was fine. Honestly, I like the Runaway Railway more
Yeah,
than
it's the
Ratatouille.
best. It's
Yeah.
the best. So between Runaway Railway, Ratatouille, and Rise of the Resistance.
Mhm.
And Rise of the Resistance is a very epic ride,
Yeah.
It is.
but Runaway Railway is my favorite of those
It's
three.
it's
It's fun.
incredible.
It's
like, I
my
just-
favorite trackless
I
ride.
gawk at the whimsy and magic of
Yeah.
Runaway Railway.
And the projections, honestly,
Yeah,
the way
is-
it does put you in the
yeah,
story.
It does.
It's really well done.
It's really cool.
I don't know what my go-to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be, honestly. I don't know if there's something that we do every time. We probably get some egg rolls
Okay.
spring rolls from the spring roll
Yep.
cart in Magic Kingdom. That's something we do. I think we do probably pretty much every time.
That's fair.
I always get popcorn.
Okay.
I love popcorn.
okay.
I love.
Oh, yeah.
I normally will get some type of food that's Mickey shaped because I don't know how
Sure.
you can.
Yeah, I get the
Yeah.
ice cream bar every
Ice
single
cream,
time.
yeah, ice cream bar.
I go for the sandwich, but yeah, ice cream
That's
sandwich.
Leslie. She
Yeah.
typically goes for the sandwich.
One of these times I'll get a lightsaber. I do want to do that.
Yeah, that's a
That
lot
that
more
can't be an
expensive
every time
than,
thing.
No,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no, and that's only gets more expensive every year.
Then I'm thinking of it, People Mover. That's the thing that we do
I love-
every
yeah.
single trip.
I do
do
love
do
the
that
people
too.
mover.
Honestly, multiple times. And
Yep,
sometimes
same.
it's just because, like, hey, this is a 20-minute wait, and everything
Yeah.
else is an hour.
Yeah.
So we're going to ride this.
And honestly, if it says 20 minutes, it's probably a 7-minute wait.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know,
I love it.
I do too. I do too. I've always loved the people
Yeah.
mover.
I don't go to sleep.
Nope.
Like, and I love Carousel Progress.
Yep.
And
there's a
and-
more unique thing that I do every single
What's
time.
that?
I ride some sort of cool, dark, calm ride and fall asleep.
well, yeah. I mean, that's the way. Like,
at least once
because
every
it's
time.
so hot, you get in there and it's cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's
You
normally
sit
like
down.
the
Yep.
like the one of the last days,
Yeah.
and I'll get my second win the very last day. But getting close there,
Yeah.
I'll take a nap somewhere on
It's some
Carousel
cool-
Progress. I'll sleep
cool,
through the whole thing.
Music is playing. This guy's, narrating something for
His
you.
hand falls off.
Right.
Well, hopefully not. But yeah. Yeah, that's probably it. I think is that's what I would say.
Yeah,
That's my go.
That's a good one.
So, all right. So if you're listening, you probably have some things that you do every trip, or I think we kind of talked about how our plans have changed. But what's something that you guys do? I mean, feel free to leave a comment or something and say, hey, this is something that's a can't miss for us.
Yeah.
Real quick,
Or planning tips that we
or planning
didn't think
tips
about.
that we didn't, or discuss. I'm always interested to hear how other people do it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean I'm going to do what you do, but
No.
I'll hear what you have to say.
Yeah, and I'll keep doing it the way I do it
Probably.
because I'm
Yeah.
stubborn.
Okay, here's a little game that we're going to play. It's called Sell, Float, or Sink. We played this at least once. And so here's how the game goes. Essentially, we got a topic, and we're going to give 3 options, and we're going to choose, would we sell, which one sells. This is kind of like our go-to or our must-do or whatever. Which one floats, so that one's just kind of there for us. We could take it or leave it. And which one sinks, which is the one that we would pass on or is not so maybe appealing to us. So I thought for today's episode, we would go with Magic Kingdom Dark Rides. Okay? So 3 options in alphabetical order. Haunted Mansion, Peter Pan's Flight, Pirates of the Caribbean. So sell, float, or sink. And in this case, you could kind of make
You kind of could actually.
the case that you sell Peter Pan's Flight,
Yeah.
you float Haunted Mansion, and you could sink on Pirates of the Caribbean based on ride vehicles.
Honestly,
Literally.
literally basic. But you could also make an argument like you could sink on Haunted Mansion when you die,
You could.
Yeah.
and
I mean,
you could float on
you are
Pirates of the
falling out
Caribbean.
of the
You are,
attic.
yeah, exactly. I mean, so
Yeah.
You can float like a ghost.
So what's your ranking?
First of all, I don't think we're going to agree on this. I think this will.
I don't think
You
we are
you
either.
all go first because I gotta
Okay.
think about this.
Okay,
All right.
you do all 3 of them, or
All
just
3.
okay? This is tough for me.
Yep. Start with your sell. Do that order. Sell, float, sink.
Okay, that's kind of the thing because I think I would sail Pirates of the Caribbean,
Okay.
but I always miss what it used to be
Yeah.
before they added Johnny Depp to it.
Okay. That's
know?
not where I thought you were going with this.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean,
that's a
like-
better option.
Yeah.
That option gets us in less trouble.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So, Yeah.
there were other changes,
There were other changes.
but I do miss that old version of it.
Tokyo.
Yeah. But I still think that Pirates of the Caribbean would be, of these 3,
Yep.
that would be the one that I would sail.
Okay.
I would float Peter Pan's Flight,
Okay.
and I would sink the Haunted Mansion.
Yep. We're gonna be different. We're gonna be
Okay,
opposite.
Yeah, I know.
I would sell Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
There's this one, and I can't think of where it is exactly. Here's where I think it is. I think it's at the beginning of the auction
Yep.
scene.
Yep.
You turn the corner. It's either there or right after it, and they're pumping in. I guess it's like air conditioning,
Oh, yeah.
and that smell
The
hits you right in
smell,
the face.
yeah.
and you want to talk like that's some of the yoga breath. I'm like
Yep. Yeah. Every time.
every time,
Yep.
like breathe it in, man.
I believe it's right after. It's after the one where the guy's like, I'm studying me map.
yes,
right?
Yes,
And it used to be where the pirates were chasing the women around.
yes.
And now it's the women chasing the pirates around.
It is, yeah.
But yeah.
Which is different than the Johnny Depp change.
Yeah. But also the same.
Similar. So, yeah, I love that. I love it. So that one I would definitely sell. Float for me is Haunted Mansion.
Yep.
I love Haunted Mansion. Yeah, and sink is Peter Pan.
That's fair.
And here's the reason. Two things. One, maybe 3 things. The line is super long,
Yep.
longer than it ever should be.
I agree with that.
The ride is super short,
I agree with that too.
and Captain Hook's voice,
Yeah, that's fair.
which is like I recorded it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like for Disney, it's like you own the rights, man.
But see, I think there's something about the ride that I love because it is like it is
No.
at this point the like oldest ride that they have. There's
Yeah.
something about like you get on, and you're like, this is janky.
It's janky.
Cool. It's a cool ride still. That when you take off and fly over
Yeah.
London,
Yeah.
that's a cool
That is
scene.
a cool moment.
Well, and I still remember that one from really young,
Yeah.
in the 90s and
Yeah.
seeing it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
guess Pirates of the Caribbean and,
and-
Haunted
and-
Mansion
okay,
too. So
yeah.
that
Yeah,
doesn't
but
count.
still.
But
Can we debate this without googling? You're in that scene. So you come out of the kid's bedroom.
Right.
You look down and there's a car.
Yeah.
Is that the car model? Is it modeled after Mr. Toad's Wild Ride?
Oh, I have no idea.
Because they look similar to those ride vehicles, what they used to be,
Yeah.
and it makes sense because you're in Fantasyland.
Right.
I'm just
Huh.
next time you ride it, tell me what you think.
Okay.
Listeners, if you know the answer, tell us. Because
Yeah.
honestly, every time I look down, I see that card. That's what I think of.
Okay.
Yeah. So next time,
I'm about to look for it specifically next
Yep.
time and see.
take a look.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Aaron,
okay.
self float,
Uh,
sink.
I think I got mine, and I'll have reasons for it. So
Okay.
I would
I'm prepared to be offended.
I would sail Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
Okay.
I would float Pirates of the Caribbean,
Yep.
and I would sink Peter Pan's Flight.
Okay.
Okay.
But if I could add another one, I would surf on the Winnie Pooh ride all day long because that is trippy AF, and I love how trippy it is.
Speaking of that, used to be Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did.
I don't
Yeah.
know. When you talked about that, I have no idea what that is.
Yep.
Oh,
But it's just so trippy. I don't know what to think of
I mean,
that
in
ride.
fairness, so is Mr. Toad's Wild Ride,
Yeah,
but
it
not
was.
to the level of the.
well, you don't
the
go to
Huff
hell
Lumps.
in Winnie the Pooh.
No, but you get high out of your mind.
Winnie
You
the
do.
Pooh looks like something out
Yeah.
of Dr. Seuss.
And that
Yeah.
the one moment where you're where it's raining and
Yep.
the whole car is doing this like tippy
Yes.
toppy
Yeah.
thing, like
Yep.
it is.
It's also long. It's a long
It is-
ride for
it
what it
is.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I probably would have sailed Pirates of the Caribbean if there wasn't just the risk of getting wet, because I never feel like getting wet whenever I'm riding that ride.
It's fair. That's the funnest part, though.
I
it
don't
is.
disagree, and I think about
Yep.
that every single
Yeah.
time. It's just every time I'm getting ready to ride Pirates of the Caribbean, it's like, man, I don't want to get wet.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
I don't know why. I'm probably hot and sweaty at that point, and getting wet would probably help.
You're already wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you're just gonna be wet and cold.
That's the thing. You do get really cold. It is really cold.
It's gonna
in
be
there.
chilly.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's
Yeah.
the same thing with Haunted Mansion. You get really cool in that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you don't get wet and cold.
No.
That's true.
What the thing that gets me is typically not when we go down the hill. It's when you're going through the battle scene.
Yeah,
And all of a
the
sudden
cannonballs.
The cannonballs, yeah.
Yep.
And that one it gets me almost every
Either
time.
yeah, you will either not get like a single
Yep.
drop on you, or you'll just get a cannonball in your like nose.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. So, Aaron, I don't mean to exclude you.
Okay, go for it.
I'm sorry.
Exclude away.
No, but you recently went to Disneyland.
Yeah.
If we were talking Disneyland,
Okay.
does your order change? Because I will say
Oh,
that
man.
Peter Pan's Flight in Disneyland
Yeah.
is incredible.
Yeah. No, I think for me, let's see, because I said I would sail Pirates, I would float Peter Pan, and I
Yeah.
would sing. No, for me, it stays the same, honestly.
I would probably be closer
Yeah.
to what you said.
Yeah.
At Disneyland.
Yeah.
Pirates is still number one to me.
In fact, Pirates is even more number one for
Oh,
me.
it
The
was
Disneyland
incredible.
Pirates. Yeah. It's
Floating by
not
the Blue
comparable.
Bayou
yes.
restaurant and 2 drops.
The
Got the
whole
lift
thing.
hill.
The
It's-
whole thing. The extra scenes.
Yeah.
The like 3 extra scenes. It's a lot. Pirates in Disneyland absolutely
Yeah.
blows this one out of the water, pun intended.
Yes.
But I also agree that Peter Pan's Flight was better
It was much better.
in Disneyland.
It's longer
Yeah.
and
and-
it doesn't feel as janky.
No,
You
it
know
does
what
not.
I mean?
Yeah,
Like somehow
agree.
it's an older ride,
right.
but it feels newer
Yes.
than the one in Disney World.
I would agree with that. And honestly, Haunted Mansion there is, it's pretty much comparable.
So I think you two, right? We were there at the same time. So
Yep.
we rode the overlay.
Yes. With Jack Skellington.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would like to ride it without.
I would too.
The-
But even with that, like I knew where I was the whole time, you know?
did, yeah.
Um,
And there's parts of it that are some of the scenes that you ride through in Disney World, you walk through
yeah,
in Disneyland.
sure.
You know, like
Yep.
the one where the bus they're following you, like you walk,
Right.
by that. I like the placement of the Hatbox Ghost better
It makes
in
way more
Disneyland.
sense. Yeah.
You know, so and
Yeah,
that
it seems like they meant to put him there. In Disney World,
Yeah.
it's like they accidentally put him right next to the endless hallway,
yeah,
which
which
to
is-
me just takes away from the fact that you're looking down the endless hallway.
it does, and that's a pretty cool effect.
It is. I
Really.
really wish they would move the Hatbox Ghost.
So anyways, yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know where I land, but I think
Yeah.
that I would agree. I mean,
Yeah.
I would lean towards you for
Yeah.
for Disneyland.
Yeah, because
for sure.
honestly, for the Disney World, for me, like I would definitely sail Pirates of the Caribbean and float Peter Pan's Flight, but that's a bit more of a toss up there for me.
Yeah.
Because I really do like Peter Pan's Flight.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't dislike it.
yeah.
I hate waiting in line for
And
it.
well, and so that's another thing too. If I've got a lightning lane for Peter Pan's Flight,
Yeah,
yes. If I don't have a lightning lane for it, I'm probably not going to wait in the line.
that's it. And we don't ever get the lightning lane. We
Yeah.
just don't, whatever. Going back to planning, we don't ever do it.
Yeah.
So I'm always waiting in line, and
Yeah.
and that's the line that is short in terms of
Yeah.
it's not a long line,
Yeah.
but it's forever a wait.
It
And
is.
so that means you're standing there
Yeah.
for forever.
Yeah. It's a low capacity ride.
Yes.
And they do have a lot of lightning lane access to it. So there are definitely times where you're just standing there
Yeah.
and the line is not moving.
I will say this: if you ever walk by Peter Pan's Flight, and you're thinking, "Oh, we should do this," and the lightning lane is stretched outside,
Oh, don't
even think about it.
no.
Keep walking.
Go do anything else.
Yeah.
Go do anything else.
Literally.
Go tour all the bathrooms. Yeah.
I mean, you would spend the same amount of time.
You would, but you'll see a lot more.
You'll see a lot more. Other things that float.
That's
But-
true. Sink or float. As long as they're not sailing.
Lord.
that only happens at Animal Kingdom. Did you know that Animal Kingdom is the only park where they bathrooms have doors that are closed?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did
And
know
you can
that.
lock
I
them
don't
from
think
the
I
inside.
did know
Yeah.
that they closed, but I don't think I've ever
Do you
noticed
know
it.
why?
So the animals don't get in there.
Well, close. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that is it.
That is
well,
it,
honestly,
yeah.
like if a tiger gets loose, everybody go to the bathroom.
It's a
and lock
place
the
of
door.
refuge.
Yeah, they aren't that big.
No.
Yeah.
But survival of the fittest, man.
Yeah. Apparently,
Who
good
can ever
gracious.
fit in there? Anyways, I would agree. All right, so quickly recap today's episode. We talked about some exciting news, and I'm going to call it a potential 7th Disney park because until they break ground
Yeah, I agree.
and do something,
Yep.
That's fair.
we're not
could
going to
always
call this
go
thing
under.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they could change their mind tomorrow. We talked a little bit about how we approach planning Disney trips, how that has changed, and probably more about food and that kind of stuff. But anyways,
Yeah.
and we discussed some of your favorite Magic Kingdom dark rides.
Yeah.
So now we'd love to hear your thoughts. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? What is it would you change? Or what is your sail, float, or sink when it comes to those rides? We'd love to hear from you. And you can reach out to us either on social media. There's for sure going to be an Instagram out there.
Yeah. We might already have one.
I think we do.
Oh, nice.
What's the handle?
It's the Park Hopper Society.
That checks
We should
out.
probably
better
know
You know what?
be,
You
right?
search
I
Park
hope
Hopper
it is.
Society, and
If it looks like us,
Park Hopper Society.
That's
3,
right.
2, 1.
the Park Hopper Society.
There you
Okay,
go.
there you go.
So you can
DM us.
You can find us there. Yep, or leave a comment wherever you are
Slide in them
consuming
DMs.
this content.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends, please. And if you have any suggestions on any content that you'd like to hear us talk about, or riff on, or anything that you don't want us to talk about, also tell us about that. So I think that is it. So for now, until next month,
Keep hopping.
keep hopping.
Keep on hopping.
See
Keeping
ya
on.
real
Hop,
soon.
hop, hop.
Hop.
Goodbye.
Hippity hoppity.